Good afternoon. I'm Ethan Moy here with Coach B as part of the 12th episode of Coach B Weekly. And Coach B, we had an exciting finish here at the NAC on Saturday. There's also a couple of exciting finishes this weekend in NFL playoffs. My question to you here first, to start us off, is, who's going to play in the Super Bowl here in a couple of weeks?
Well, I got to actually see a little bit of the games, and I would have to probably say, if I was to pick, I'm going to go with Philly.
Okay.
Because I feel like they're doing such a great job on both sides of the ball, and the fact that the quarterback, well, they're home, but home is great, but it's more about, I think, the quarterback situation there with Carson Wentz going down.
Yeah.
I felt the vibe that everybody was just pretty much writing them off, especially their own fans.
Right.
I felt a lot of the fans were being very negative.
I think I saw one of the players wear a dog mask to signify they were underdogs.
Yeah.
Which they were home underdogs in that game, which is crazy. But
yeah, I could see why they probably felt the vibe of that, because I think, again, their own fans, from all the fans I knew that were Philly fans, everybody was just real negative, saying they're done, it's over, or I'll watch the game, they're going to lose, I'm going to watch them lose. And it was like, Nick Foles is, he's played in the playoffs before.
Yeah.
He's done well. He's had games. I remember a few years back just catching a highlight in something they were talking about. He threw like 6 or 7 touchdowns at a game. We're talking about a very capable quarterback here, and I feel like they have that, that out of the way now, that game back. And even though Minnesota's on a real big high right now from the way they won, I would give the edge to Philly, because I think Philly has just been so great on both sides of the ball all year and seemed to always found a way to get it done. Should be a good matchup, though, on that one. And on the other side, I'm going to go with New England. As much as I really feel like Jacksonville has been a huge inspiration for any sport, witnessing how a coach like Doug Marrone, who
Syracuse area.
Yeah, Syracuse area. I think he's originally the New York City area, born and raised. But he came from Buffalo when he left.
Yeah.
I do know the history of that. He left Buffalo, and when he had a
he had that out in his contract.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know why you write that in the contract.
Ownership change, and maybe because of the validity of how much people leave.
Right.
But he had a way of leaving the organization, still getting his year's salary, and then pursuing something he thought was more stable. He caught a lot of flack for that. And if you look back at that decision, I think some of the people that were so critical of him maybe can reflect and say, I was a little harsh and a little wrong maybe. Maybe he knew what was coming, ownership change.
Right.
He was working with a GM.
And he didn't get another head coaching gig right away. He went back to being an assistant, and I think he was at the Saints, and then he went with Jacksonville as their QB coach or something, like a position
Offensive
coach.
line.
Yeah, offensive line coach. And then, they just hired within, and Jaguar fans are kind of like, why are we hiring this guy? But he's really turned them around.
I followed his career a little bit, because like I was saying, he was catching a lot of flack for that move. And if you look back, I remember just from hearing things from people back home, they said that his relationship with his GM, the GM was really telling him who to play and when to play him. And there was a lot of hostility there. So I think people need to reflect sometimes and say, was I in the right frame of mind when I criticized him? We had a good coach. Things were a little shaky in the organization. Probably made a real good move for his career as far as being in a more of a stable thing. When you have an ownership change in the NFL, you always got to worry about, does a new owner want to bring in his own guy, and so on. So, anyways, it's good to see that he's changed the culture. Listen, 2 years ago, I don't forget things like this. 2 years ago, I remember it was in the summer when I had a little bit better of a schedule where I could catch a Sports Center or something. I remember hearing on one of the Sports Center shows that they were joking around. I think it was Mike and Mike or something. They were joking around saying, if Alabama played Jacksonville, who would you take to win? And Mike Greenberg says, I take Alabama.
Right.
And he's serious. I'm thinking, my God. First of all, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Second of all,
you hear that all the time. So.
I think it's the most ridiculous thing. People actually think that they have a point with that, and they're never going to play the game, so they can get away with it. But he says, I'll take Alabama, and I'm saying, oh my God, they're making jokes about an NFL team would lose to the national championship in national champion college football. just think about that. 2 years ago, they were getting joked around like that,
Right.
and now they're in the AFC Championship.
Yeah.
So you got to give credit to Doug Marrone and the culture he's built, and they have their inefficiencies, and I think that they'll fight hard against New England. But you know, Brady's so good, and they just seem to always get a little bit better as the season goes on. We talk about that with our team a lot.
Yeah.
Our team, we always talk about getting a little bit better every day, and it just seems like New England does that.
The same thing,
Yeah, their defense starts off at a level, and everyone thinks they're terrible. Now look at their defense, how it just keeps getting better. So we'll see. You know, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a chance to catch some of it. I think there's two good matchups. I think they'll be hard-fought games, both of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, so your pick, Patriots-Eagles, rematch of the, I think, 2005 Super Bowl.
That was a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick the winner yet. We'll save that.
No, we gotta see if it comes to fruition too.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go that level yet.
Right.
You know, just hold me to who wins it.
I will hold you to that.
If they both make it there, then I'll have my pick. If one of them gets knocked off, I'll have to restructure anyway.
Yeah,
So.
I got you.
Okay.
All right, well, speaking of great games, Saturday, like we mentioned before, it was a great game, 63-62 win over St. Francis, PA, to remain unbeaten in NEC action. First off, take us through that last play. It was for people who haven't seen the highlights, it was a Megan Smith buzzer beater 3 to win the game there. You were down by 9 with about 7 minutes to go, but that last play in particular, take me through that play. And, you know, was that the look that you wanted in that play, or did, you know, kind of, you know, the players just kind of adjusted and, you know, made the winning play there?
Well, let's go back before that winning play. Just let's lead up to it a little bit, because I think a lot of times the last shot is really focused on, because it's the the big shot, the buzzer beater. Yeah. But there was some big significant things that happened there. You know, they went up 9 with, I think there was 5-6 minutes to go.
About
right?
6.5 minutes. Yeah.
6.5 minutes. Okay, and they had a lot of momentum there, and we just continued to fight. And there was some big plays in that. You know, a great pass by Nina Augustin on the baseline to Hanukkah for the 3 in the corner. A great run out and layup, fast break where we got a nice layup on that side. Some big stops.
Yeah, that last stop in particular, getting Ace Harrison to shoot, you know, a couple steps inside half court just to get a shot up. Gave up the offensive rebound on that play, but, you know, Hanukkah was there to, you know, make life tough on, I think it was Leah Morrow, and make sure she got a contested shot there.
Yeah, great point. We defended so well that possession, and it really took them out of what they wanted to do, and then they wound up with a tough shot for anybody.
Yeah.
And the ball came off hot, and we made a mistake on that possession, because it was something we talked about, not getting caught watching when the shot goes up.
Right.
Because they take so many long shots, you get caught watching,
Yeah.
and you know, box out, and you know, you give up the rebounds. So we got caught watching a little bit on that possession. Hanukkah had 2 there. Nneka needed to get back inside and start boxing, and Hanukkah chose one and went to the other. But the mindset after they got the offensive rebound was to stay relentless and to wall up and to block that rebound putback, and we wound up getting the ball back, even though we gave up the offensive rebound, because we didn't hang our heads and watch and say, oh, she got the rebound, she's going to put it up.
Like, we worked that hard to get to get a stop, and then they got the ball back.
That's right, and we didn't hang our head. As soon as that moment happened where she got the rebound at the basket, we could have just said, oh, she's there and she's going to lay it up, and we get caught still watching. We ran over and walled and got a good contest and a block, got the ball back, and then we started to come down
the end to call a timeout and set up something.
That was a big one. To go back to a possession defensively before that, Megan Smith takes a huge charge on a play.
I think that's charged now like 875 in her career.
Yeah, there should be a staff for that. There should be a staff for that. I always said that charges are something that should be in a stat column, because they're such a great play in the game that, you know, really changed the culture of how you protect the paint. But she takes a charge in a big spot for us. So there was some big defensive plays that led up to that, and then obviously, you know, when we came down the court, you know, getting the timeout and getting the ball where we want to, running our set. You know, going back to that play, we ran it pretty well. Our timing got messed up a little bit on that play. We had to adjust, but we knew what to do when it did that. So there was structure definitely in there. Obviously, Nina Augustin making a great read when she came off the ball screen. She has the option, if she's got it, to take it. Obviously, seeing the whole floor if somebody's open and they rotate a certain way. But the structure was really the way we wanted it. And You know, when you practice something and you work hard during practice and you kind of put yourself in the game when you're going over it in practice, when you get into the game setting, that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
Besides having some in-game experience.
Right.
And those guys, some of them on the court, they didn't have any experience, but they practiced it so hard and well.
Yeah.
Even though we had a little bit of a botch with the timing,
Yeah.
they knew exactly how to extend the play. We go over that stuff, and at the end of the day, when you run plays, no matter if it's early, late, middle, players got to make them. You know, you can't predetermine the defense is exactly going to go here all the time.
Right.
You see tendencies, and you get a little bit comfortable sometimes in their tendencies. But if you hold yourself accountable to just reading the game and playing free, that's what I attribute it to at the end, was knowing where we were supposed to be, understanding the concepts of what we're doing when the play does get to that point, but playing free.
Yeah.
And playing free isn't playing mindless. I always talk to the players about that. We think free is just mindlessly walking around, mindlessly playing the game, taking shots whenever you feel like it.
Right.
Playing free is trusting your instincts, trusting what you do in practice every day.
Yeah.
If you see something,
Trusting your teammates.
yes, not hesitating to take it when it's there,
Yeah.
and understanding what's there by challenging yourself. That's playing free to us. So did a great job of playing free at the end, and I was really happy to see Megan get that one to go.
Yeah, and I told my work study who was calling for me, Rachel Swager, I said, as soon as it left her hands, like, that's in. Like, it just looked so good from there, and, you know, it seemed like she obviously got it off in time. So
She shot that with a lot of confidence. She didn't change her shot at all, and when it went up in the air, it did look nice and soft. The rotation was good. Thought I had a good shot.
Yeah.
She got it to go.
There you go. Now, we mentioned, you know, how you were down 9 with about 6.5 minutes to go. You finished on a 15-5 run to end that game. You know, you had a couple of timeouts there. I think there was 2 media timeouts in that possession, or in that quarter, and there was also a few other timeouts. What were you telling the team during those breaks, you know, to kind of keep them, you know, upbeat, focused, and confident that you were going to make this comeback?
Just staying within ourselves, you know, understanding that all of the things that are happening to us is controllable. You know, making sure they're where they're supposed to be when different things are being thrown at us. You know, playing free in our structure and making sure that we're filling the positions we need to fill, running plays and executing. There was a bunch of different things we were going over. A lot of the stuff that we caused, it was our own bad habits, our own you know, lack of experience that we had to get through with the younger guys. Right. You know, they press the whole game, and they like to play a certain style to get you into their tempo. And you know, as much as you got to hold them accountable, you also got to do a good job of staying within what you do. And so there's a fine balance there that you always got to accomplish. And we you know, we had moments of accomplishing that through the game where things looked, you know, like we were really in control and doing well. And then there was those moments where we had struggles, and we lost our structure, and we got unaccountable a little bit here and there. And it wasn't always from the younger guys, some of the upperclassmen as well. And you know, I had to get on them about that. And so, you know, usually at practice, you know, I'm getting on them more to train them to be better at
to be ready for those kind of situations.
Yes, and in the game, I'm less, you know, likely to be that.
Right.
And you know, because what we've you know, routine base, how we practice, our good instincts that we create through practice, they're supposed to come out in the game. And you know, we're supposed to be, you know, it's not supposed to be where we're changing our culture during the game.
Right.
You got to change your culture on your daily routine of practice and be ready to make adjustments during the game. So, you know, a few adjustments were made here and there, but at the end of the day, as we watched the video too after the game, there was times where like, what were we thinking? Where were you at? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be there. And that was what was going on a lot of timeouts, holding them accountable to getting them focused back in and staying in control of what we're doing, not deviating and losing our fundamentals. That was a big thing in the scout. You know, when teams, you know, want to play that way and press, you know, you pick up your pace and you attack when the opportunity's there, but you don't lose your fundamentals. Right. You don't start changing the team that you are when it comes to the accountability of making sure you're doing things the right way. So that was a lot of the timeouts, and you know, I was really proud of the way we responded, especially down the stretch. How we took care of the ball down the stretch, and when we got down like we did in the fourth quarter, we just kept fighting.
And held them without a field goal in that last 2:25.
The servanthood was amazing on both sides of the ball, Ethan. It was amazing, and like I said, that's what I care about the most. That we were rising up at the end and serving each other. And that was what really made me feel good. Whether that ball went in or not at the end of the game, I would always been proud of how we fought, even though we made a lot of mistakes.
Right, and I was gonna leads me to my next question. One of the big blemishes from that game was the 33 turnovers. Like you said, St. Francis, they press. They try to play as fast as possible. What makes their press so difficult to break there? Even though it seems like as the game went on, especially in that fourth quarter, you were able to find some holes in their press and break it a lot easier.
Well, they're committed to the way they play, and it's always great, the challenges of playing other styles and other teams. A lot of times we get caught up in wanting to play a certain way and be able to go out there and just continue to play. So teams are going to throw things at you. And that's why I always tell them they got to have their hands wide open with a full heart, and they got to be willing to come in and read the game and see how they're guarding us and see what they're doing offensively, how we're guarding them, and be willing to really have your hands wide open and a full heart, not just say it. Say, hey, this is something that we haven't seen in a while, or something that has made us uncomfortable in the past. The challenge to get better at it, the challenge to come back, every day at practice and say, hey, I have my opportunities to do this, and I got to make the most of them, really be focused on getting better at it. That's really was, the big challenge of this game. And, some of the turnovers were the fact that they're very good at their press, and, they change things around a little bit. They move around a little differently, and you can't get stuck in doing one thing. You got to be
like that skip pass might be there one time, but then they read it and bring a safety out to come pick that off the next time.
That's right. You're exactly right. They'll take one thing away, see how you handle it. They'll take another thing away, and so you got to be willing to be open to just playing free and reading. And you need 5 players on the court doing their job and willing to do their job at all possessions. If you have 1 or 2 players that are kind of taking a possession off from their roles, and that's really what we saw a lot in video. We were taking off a possession here and there with not that we just weren't focused. We faced presses earlier in the year, but no team was committed as much as they are. They are completely committed to their style. They play their style, and I always love those matchups. If you're a man team playing a zone team, I love those matchups of a great man team against a great zone team.
Like playing chess against each other.
It's really part of life. You can't dictate what's going to come at you every day. All you can do is know how to respond and get better, and stay together when things get tough. Things got tough there, and we stayed together. That's why I keep saying that's what made me the most proud, whether the ball went in or not, how we kept fighting. Sometimes we're just so driven in win, lose. The last shot went in, it didn't go in. Highs and lows based upon win and loss. There's been games this year that we've lost. I've come in the locker room and told them, I was really proud of the way you fought. We made mistakes. We're going to get better at those, but our heart was full, and we were serving each other. And then there's other games where we won, and I came back in the locker room. I said, this was a disappointing effort. We got some ways to go still, obviously. I challenged the leadership and things like that. So, it's not just win-lose for us. I mean, there's more things out there. There's higher purposes that we're in this for.
One of your better individual performances from that game came from Nneka Azebo. She posted her 6th career double-double with 14 points, 11 rebounds, also added a block and steal defensively. How pleased have you been with her progression between her freshman and sophomore year?
Yeah, Nneka has a lot of talent, and she's got a lot of natural ability and strength. And the days that she comes in and puts a good day's work in, you can see the progression here, the development. She's had some moments where she's really done really well, and she's had some moments where things got the best of her. What she's been getting better at is dealing with the struggles of a bad moment or a bad thing, and she's had her setbacks again, and she is still a sophomore. But we hold her accountable because of how many minutes she plays and her role with the team, and she's at that point now where she's got to continue to get a little bit better every day, we say. And keep putting bricks in the foundation when a game's over to say, hey, I got better and I got to put a brick on my foundation. And so I'm happy with the fact that she's continued to battle through her, her bad habits and things like that. And I've seen her develop some different skill set moves that we've been working on, where she's in the game now, starting to do some different things and opening up to be more of a diverse.
I'm gonna say it's not just like power left of her left hand, which is I find a little funny, but also awesome that she's right hand dominant, but she loves going to her left. But now she's doing that little spin, turn right-handed hook.
Yeah, she's doing different things, and she's going both ways now, and that's really great to see. And we work a lot on it. And I talk to all the student athletes and tell them on our team that you know, we only have so much time, so many reps in practice. You got to get your butt in the gym and work on this stuff on your own. If you really want to get better, you got to put the extra time in. It's like anything else in life. If you put the minimum in, you know, you're going to get the minimum out. And you know, she's been putting some extra work in at times, and I think that's been a great culture of our team, that, you know, you see them out there putting extra time in and work in, and she continues to do that and continues to develop more and more passion for being better. She's got a lot of potential to be really strong, and so we're looking forward to it. I'm really enjoying watching her grow, helping her grow, you know, being a positive influence on her, bring her into this culture of our program and seeing her culture get better. I think that that's so enjoyable for myself and our staff to see that. That's one of the biggest things that we look for. And you know, on and off the court, you know, she's getting older, she's getting better, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with her to get better. And I'm thinking right now she's at that point where if she continues to work hard, that she'll see, you know, the improvements down the stretch here.
Yeah, absolutely. Lastly here, you're back on the road after a 3-game homestand. It feels like forever since we've been back on the road, really. Saturday at Wagner, Monday at Mount St. Mary's. You know, after being home for a couple of weeks here, how do you get the team refocused to, you know, go back on the road and, you know, start your road routines back over again after, again, a long stretch here at home?
Yeah, you know, the biggest challenges is being able to handle both winning and losing, and coming off of the kind of performance we had where we ended on such a big high on Saturday. You know, that was something now that we have to make sure that we come back down and you know, get steady. And you know, I wanted them to enjoy that.
I can say it probably helps a little bit, you know, that you didn't have the game on Monday too, for that, you know, because, you know, you see it all the time. You see a team wins, you know, in dramatic fashion, a huge win, and then, you know, they go up and they're still like kind of riding the high from that win a couple days later, and, you know, they fall into some bad habits and, you know, end up getting a little bit of a
drop off. Yeah, I think, you know, what you're probably going to notice more and more is that, you know, you could always, it's how you handle it. You could always find the negative or the positive depending on how you handle it. You know, coming right back and playing, getting refocused in, that could be very challenging if you let it be challenging. And then also having a break where, you know, your body gets real comfortable and you don't have put a good days of work, good week of work in going into your next game. That extended time of not working could really set some bad habits in place too. So you got to handle things well. It's like playing at home or playing on the road. You know, teams talk about how tough it is to play on the road. Well, I've known teams in the past that have had better records on the road, and people are like, that's crazy. Well, a lot of it has to probably do with your routine, your focus. Getting away from home may focus you in more than being at
right
home.
now we're also one of those teams that have a better record on the road than we do at home.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, you always want to have a good record at both, and that's your goals. But at the end of the day, you know, that's going to be the big challenge for us. Is that, you know, it's easy to say, you know, it's like we could sit around all day and say we're going to do this and we're going to do that. We're not going to get comfortable. We're going to stay hungry. You know, we're going to continue to be assertive when we get out there.
But are you going to put it into practice?
Yeah, you got to put it in work. You got to put work in it. If you're at practice now and you're, you know, daydreaming when it comes to, you know, you should be focusing on, if you're not as hungry, you're not going after a rebound as hard, you're not, you know, playing defense with the same kind of passion. It's going to affect you going into the game on Saturday. So as a coach, you know, as a coaching staff, you know, I've already talked with the assistant. I told them we're not going to allow them, from our vantage point, to see any type of change in what we're doing, because, you know, we live our life a certain way, and you got to coach the way you live, and we live our life to come back to work every day, and we're the same person, whether we won that game on Saturday or we lost that game. We got to be the same student athletes. We got to be the same team. So that's going to be the big challenge now, is if we have the you know, the mental toughness now to enjoy something, because like I said, I was telling you before, we had to enjoy that. You know, you have to enjoy things like that, because we did some very, very special there in the way we finished that game and came back. They should be proud. They enjoyed it. When you had your day off, you enjoy it, and then when you come back to work, vacation's over now, back to work. And I was telling them today in practice, you got to embrace that. You have to embrace going back to work. It's not getting through the day. It's embracing the day, finding the joy in what you're doing. When you get put to the test, make those words be actions. And, you know, we continue to work on that every day, and the leadership and the player-driven mentality is really going to show through now. And we got to put a good week of work in, and we got to go back into Saturday's game with the same mindset, to be hungry and to go out there and execute the game plan, and make sure that we're not getting arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, continuing to be humble. You know, it's very easy to say, but we really focus on humility a lot, too much, to let that happen to us. So player driven is going to be key now. Coaches can't pull the players over that line of humility.
Yep.
We have to stay in that mindset and just go forward with a great servanthood again, and honesty and grace.
Definitely. And once again, thank you for joining me today, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Saturday against Wagner is a 1 o'clock tip, while Monday at Mount St. Mary's is a 7 o'clock tip. Both games can be seen on NEC Front Row. My question to you here first.